This makes Irene think of her mum, actually, because they had a good relationship. She's quite lucky in that. And at the very end of the session, Hale can move his foot. So the healing is definitely working. And she chats to him about her mum and her travels. Meanwhile, Sartak finds Nesrin chilling with Kadara the Rook. And he's like, "Oh, Nesrin, I'm about to head off on this mission for a few weeks to go and see all the other tribes and a load of the other Rook Riders. Do you want to come with? We're going to be gone a while." And she decides, "Do you know what? I'm going to do this for me." And Hale's busy doing his own stuff, so I'm not going to go and find him. I'm not going to go say goodbye. She leaves him a note, climbs on Kadara with Sartak, and they fly off together. And I make her right. Because Kale spends the evening with Irene over at the Torre Sesame and they're reading in the library, they're doing studying, and he's so tired that he like sleeps over there. So he doesn't even know that Nesrin has gone until literally the next day because he finds the letter then and he's like, "Oh my God, I might just be the worst friend ever to Nesrin. Like, this really sucks. I've treated her so badly that she didn't even want to say goodbye to me." And he should feel that way. Man should be ashamed. Because while he is an amazing best friend to Dorian, he is a sucky best friend to Nesrin. Irene obviously doesn't know this has happened. So when she hears from Hassar that, oh, Sartak's gone on his little mission, he's taken Nesrin with him, she puts two and two together and is like, oh my God, Kale's bummed that Nesrin's left him. She goes to check in on him and make sure he's all right. And she realizes something is following her. When she gets to Kale's room, they literally have to barricade the door because something has like caught up with it and it is pounding on the door and it starts whispering Irene's name and it's there's lots of like bad stuff that happens in these books. This particular bit, it gave me goosebumps. It was really creepy. But by the time the guards arrive, this thing has disappeared. And Prince Cashin, he's all like, "I'll get more guards posted." And Irene's like, "Okay, yeah, you do whatever, but I'm gonna stay here with Kale because at least he kept me safe during that recent attack." And it's just so cute that with Kale is where she feels safest. So she literally sleeps in his bed that night and he stays in his chair and he guards her to make sure that she knows that she's safe with him. Is that not? Are you? Does that not just? I have no words. I have no words. This is when I'm like, okay, I like Kale again now. This is all it took to get me back on track, for sure. And the next day, he makes it clear that he's quite interested in how the Antkin fighting forces are trained. Obviously, he is an Ardalinian soldier. He is in charge of a lot of Ardalinian soldiers. So he's like, oh, can I come like watch some training? And surprisingly, they're like, actually, yeah, that's really cool. We appreciate that you respect that we're really cool fighters. So by all means, come and let us show you how good we are. Meanwhile, we get the actual plot in these books that makes it worth reading. Okay, the Irene and Kale stuff is cute, and there are some little bits that have you going, ooh, spooky. But Nesrin and Sartak's mission is where it's at. It's ow, ow. We got that on camera. Ow. The prison healer too. One of my favorites. Jesus, Jesus. Anywho, their plotline elevates this book from being like meh and okay, 6.5 to an 8, easy, just on its merits alone. So while they're traveling, we find out that Sartak is pretty much Nezrin's number one fan. He knows all of these things about her family and where she's from. And he even says, look, I've heard you're so good at archery. People call you Neath Sarrow. Like, there is no better archer in the world. He even knows about like her arrow shot that saved Lysandra. Man's got notes and notes and notes on just everything there is to know about Nezrin. And while many people will go, oh, that's a bit creepy, some of us are like, he's obsessed with her, as he should be. Finally, we have a man in these books who sees Nezrin for the goat that she is. And we love that for her. Do you know what? We never see any of the men in these books properly simp for their women. Like in their dynamic, Sartak is just 100% chaser. He is pursuing Nezrin, and she deserves to be pursued. I love that for her so much. And like the rivalries between them. Sartak makes quite a big deal of being like, babe, while we're in front of all these people, like, please don't call me a prince. Let's not have any of that royalty malarkey. The clans, they do not hold with that. All they care about is that I am the captain of their forces. I am not a prince to these people. Because he's so humble. He's just like every other guy. And when they arrive at like the mountain home of Sartak's clan, Nezrin gets to meet his half sister, Bort, who is being trained up to be the next half mother of their clan. Sartak teaches Nezrin all about the training process for new Rook riders. And he lets Nezrin know that his father, the Kagan, he was an amazing Rook rider and was known for having really smart battle strategies as a young man. So they start discussing the army that Erwin is rallying together, because Nezrin obviously knows they've got wyverns. And so something like, oh, I don't know, an air artillery made of rooks would be really cool to counteract that. And Nezrin kind of shares that on the topic of Erwin, she's not convinced that his endgame is just taking over their continent. She thinks there are bigger things at play. So she's laboring that point with Sartak, like, I don't think he'd just end with our borders. I think he's a problem for everyone. You don't know how bad he is, but I've seen him. I've seen what it is that he's building, and I'm genuinely concerned for all of us, not just my people, yours as well. While they're there, Bort challenges Nezrin to an archery competition. She's like, oh my God, we all hear that you're this amazing archer. And so Nezrin rises to the bait because Homegirl's got nothing to worry about. And she just absolutely smashes what they put in front of her. And Bort is like immediate hero worship. She is like, please, you are insane. Would you teach me how to shoot? Which obviously, Nezrin's not going to say no to. But Homegirl's only a guest. She's only here for a holiday. And that's a real shame because everyone here loves her. Sartak then introduces Nezrin to Haloon, who is the half mother of their clan. She's Bort's grandmother. She has with her a merchant called Falcon, who you look at and you're like, God, he seems a bit familiar. Where have we seen a merchant before? Oh, wait. Selena Sardothian met a merchant in Xandria, and that's where she got her Stygian spider silk from. Isn't that a coincidence? And it's at this point you start to realize there are no coincidences in Sarah J Maas's writing at all. Now, Sartak says to Haloon, oh, I've got some things I want to talk to you about in private. And Haloon's like, mate, I think that needs to wait. I can feel this real evil presence growing nearby. And we've just been out to go and check some nests. And our nearby rook nests have been raided. I think it's Stygian spiders. And Nezrin's like, what the fuck? I thought these were like a scary bedtime story. You're trying to tell me that Stygian spiders, these like monsters I've heard about in bed as a child, they're a real thing. To which Falcon says, babe, not only are Stygian spiders real, I can prove it. And man whips out some Stygian silk. And then it's confirmed. At that point, it is confirmed. He's definitely the merchant who met Selena years ago. He explains to her that he traded 20 years of his life to a Stygian spider in exchange for some of its silk. But now he's on a mission to try and trade something else in exchange for his youth back. So Nezrin's like, damn, like, So they're legit. And Haloon says, Sartak, I want you to go out and find these bloody spiders because they've been attacking our rook nests. This is your job. You're meant to be in charge and protecting everybody. Now, Haloon sends Falcon away and she asks Nesrin, foreigner, stranger from the other land who looks like us, is the darkness starting up again? And we're reading it like, what the? This tribal leader kind of knows about everyone. We are on another continent. What is happening? And Haloon asks, like, does the Kagan know that this evil is rising again? And Sartak explains, look, the Kagan, he's too wrapped up in grief. And Haloon says, oh, damn, that's a real shame. Guys, you'd better get to bed. Like, I just beat a storm to get here. The weather's about to get really, really bad. And the storm hits that night while they're all gathered around the fire. And as part of Haloon's job as Hearth Mother, she's their storyteller. And she decides to tell that night while Nesrin is there this story about a rip in the world that occurred long ago and let a load of evil monsters enter their realm. It's sounding kind of Valg-y. And you're just gagged. You are just gagged. Nesrin is getting all of the info. And there's only more to come. There is genuinely a point in this series where I think Nesrin knows more about certain things than any other character we know. And I love that for her. Meanwhile, Kale and Irene, they're still trying to track down information at the Torres Esme. And when they start talking to Nusha, the head librarian, she's like, we might not have that kind of info here at our library, but there might be some relevant information at the Aksara Oasis, because there are these really cool caves there, but the only way you can go is by royal invitation. So Irene's like, leave that with me. I might ask Kassar if we can go on a trip. That night, the two of them actually go out for a dinner date in the city, and it's really, really cute. And after the dinner, Kale's genuinely just feeling really light, feeling really good. Like something that's been on his chest for a while, it's lifted. She's literally just making him feel so much better in and of himself, because that's the kind of person Irene is. Meanwhile, we get to see some of the most exciting scenes in Tower of Dawn. Full stop. Because Nesrin and Sartak, they fly over to this watchtower to go and look for any Stygian spiders, which locally are called Karankui. They make their way into the tower and find out that the whole place is booby-trapped. Obviously, these two, they're pros. They're deft hands at this. They make their way through the watchtower without setting off any of the booby traps and make it all the way down to the dungeon. And they're like, is there a Stygian spider? Is there a Stygian spider anywhere? And then one, the size of a horse, just jumps down onto them. And I was reading this book and I genuinely think I let out a scream because I do not fuck with spiders at all. And I'm sorry, a spider combined with a jump scare, oh, that's no good for me. And out of nowhere, a giant grey wolf saves them. And you're kind of thinking, what? How is this the second Deus Ex Machina moment where we're facing certain death and a random giant animal appears? But fear not, it's not a Deus Ex Machina at all. Because while Kadara, the rook, attacks the spider and manages to kill it, we find out that this wolf is in fact Vulcan, the merchant. He is another shapeshifter. And we literally get that reveal in the exact same manner we got to see Lysandra use her powers for the first time. What a coincidence! Now, Vulcan's actually been injured in his fight with the Stygian spider. So they kind of struggle to get him back on the back of Kadara. And Sartak's then really annoyed to find out that Haloon knew that Vulcan was a shapeshifter all along and just decided not to tell him that. And Haloon says, I was trying to think of some other stories like that one about the ripped in the world. And this time, she says, I've got this story. It's about these 3 things called the Weird Keys. And we're just gagged. Like, why does this storyteller from the Southern Continent know literally everything the others have taken ages to find out? Nesrin's like just asking the right person the right questions. And we love that for her. None of this trying to figure out a riddle shit. Nesrin's just getting facts. Now, Sartak has put two and two together and realizes that Erewhon must have two of the weird keys. So he takes Nezrin to the side and's like, what do you know? What is going on? I didn't realize that we were talking about like this level of basically interdimensional stuff. I'm like, me too, Sartak. Me too. And Nezrin's like, mate, I told you this this war was going to affect everybody. That you can't ignore this. Like, we need the Kagan's army's help. Homeboy is just like, damn, damn. And Haloon tells them, oh, I know of like three other watchtowers nearby that are in like a similar state to the one you guys have just visited. AKA, there could be way more Stygian spiders around, which that's just the best news, right? More spiders. Great. Meanwhile, back in Antica, Hale's legs are getting stronger and he can move his knee. Yay, yay, yay. He basically spends his morning training with the local Antican soldiers and his afternoon with Irene getting some healing done. He also spends his spare time helping with the self-defense training of the tutees at the Torre Sesme. The Kagan eventually returns to like the nightly dinners after like 2 whole weeks of being away. And Hassar announces to the table that, oh, Kale must be buzzing because Nezrin's due to come back the next day. And Irene's like, oh, great. Nezrin's coming back. And this nice little routine I've got built up with Kale, it's all going to change again because Nezrin's going to be home. But Kale tells everyone, actually, I've heard from Team Sartak Nezrin that they're going to be away even longer. Like, we've got another few weeks before they come back. So while Kale's all like, it's cool, it's chill, that's obviously not the vibe Hassar is trying to create at the table. She's trying to make drama. So Hassar tells everyone, oh, yeah, did you all hear about what's going on? That prince, well, king, Dorian Haviliard, and that rotten queen, well, princess, Aelin Galathinius, they've been captured in Skulls Bay, which is exactly where Kale said they were going to be. Oh, isn't that amazing? And Kale's like, what? He's like, of all the goddamn places my friends could go, why did they go there? It's brilliant. It's brilliant. He's so freaked out. He's like, oh no. Oh no. What have I done? Oh no. And you're watching it like, mate. There was a 1 in a million chance of that happening. It's just real bad luck.